some incredible consolidation happening on the daily chart. If you kind of just zoom in on it, this is almost 3 weeks worth of Bitcoin trading within this extremely small range. It's just over $1,000 range. And that's very small range for Bitcoin to trade within for over 3 weeks. But this is something time and time again we see in crypto. It falls asleep. And then all of a sudden we get this power move, a power breakout to the upside, to the downside. But either way, it wakes people up. It wakes markets up. I want to discuss, in particular, this is no guarantee that this is going to happen. I want to just preface. But in the next 24 hours, there is this indicator that's lining up that I'm so curious to see if we get one of those power moves, or at least this Bitcoin chart wakes up. I want to lay that out. To start, let's go to the 6 hour, and just for context, because this is important to just make note of these targets. We're in this channel, right? This blue channel that you see here. Target to the upside is right around $32,700, $800. So just under $33,000. Target to the downside around $28,400, $500. Those targets are important. Let me start with why the downside target is important. If we're looking at the downside target and we pull into play the 50-day moving average, this blue line, we know time and time again, when Bitcoin's getting just a breakthrough out of a moving average, in particular the 50 or the 20, let me bring up the 20 actually as well. So the 20-day in green, you can see Bitcoin already pulled into the 20-day moving average, and this is extremely important to this next 24 hours, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. Bitcoin pulled into the 20. If this fails, though, and this bullish case that I'm about to discuss, which is very similar to what happened back here, this next leg up for Bitcoin, if that fails and does not happen, and Bitcoin fails its support, and we fall out of the channel, the $28,500 target right around that area becomes important because the 50-day moving average is down here, right? So it's a very common thing for Bitcoin to fall to a 50-day moving average. We need to analyze and see if there's support there, right? Because at the end of the day, if you zoom out on the Bitcoin chart, that could very much just be just a higher low area. Bitcoin, if it does decide to fall, it could be just a higher low on the macro for Bitcoin continuation, bullish continuation even. So that's not an immediately bearish thing. Maybe in the short term, right, a fall like that could be bearish. I mean, we're looking at price range wise, a fall of around 7% or so. But let's talk about why I think the next 24 hours. I want to really dig into this and show you what I'm seeing. All right. I want to bring up this new indicator that I've been using, and this is actually called the CCV Power Band. This is something that a really, really bright team has been helping me with. It's a band, right? And so we're seeing a bunch of different things here. We're seeing support and resistance areas. That's what a lot of these lines are. Let me remove the 50 and the 20-day moving average. So these lines can act as kind of these consolidation channels, support and resistance areas. We get a sense of like overbought environments where we might get some consolidation, right? So something like this in this upper band. We see trends. So we see a lot of different things. What I wanted to make note of is this line that you see here, right? This is a momentum line. It's really portraying the momentum. And as this is happening, you see it's changing colors, right? So turquoise is kind of bullish. Purple would be bearish. I want to just make note, it just turned turquoise as Bitcoin is below this line, this momentum line. All right, now let's dig into this. And this is why the next 24 hours become important to me, or at least have me curious. This isn't me saying there's going to be a big move in the next 24 hours, but I am very much paying attention. This move back here, when Bitcoin had a very similar move, it broke out. And then if I pull up that 20-day moving average once again, it broke out, it pulled into that green line, and then exploded to the upside. Look what's happening here with this momentum line. Remember, this momentum line is at turquoise. It turned purple, and then it turned turquoise again, right? So very similar thing just happened with Bitcoin right now on this chart. Notice what Bitcoin's doing at this moment. It's trading below the momentum line and above the 20-day moving average, right? It's between those two areas before making the breakout. That's a very small range Bitcoin was in to hold support above the 20 and break out of that momentum line. If we go back and we look at Bitcoin right now, look at this. I mean, it looks even smaller of a range right now, below the momentum line, above the 20-day moving average. And so the next 24 hours is going to be very important in terms of, does Bitcoin fail at this 20-day moving average, currently around $30,400? I mean, this is like within $100 range of where Bitcoin trades as I do this video. Or does Bitcoin on this daily candle or the next get this break above this momentum line? And do we see a similar move for Bitcoin to break to the upside? What makes this incredibly interesting isn't just those little data points that I just talked about and the similarities there. There's similarities. You can't deny that, even with moving average consolidation, all that good stuff. But if I open up this oscillator, now this is another CCV indicator. It's called the CCV Smart Wave. Now, look at this ribbon right now starting to trend up with this smart wave off of oversold areas, right? We just talked about the similarities of the band back here. And look what happened when Bitcoin finally broke above this momentum line on this move back in April. Bitcoin started to trend up with this ribbon, right, out of oversold. One thing to really point out is at the same time, we had the histogram during that very bullish move. The histogram started to kind of act as a leading indicator. Momentum was fading, right? That's what this histogram is. It's kind of a symbol of momentum. And you can just see it was a very just nice leading indicator that, all right, we're getting the powerful move to the upside. Momentum's fading. Start being careful as we're getting into this upper band. You see the confluence of these things came together really nicely in this move. I'm just extremely curious right now if we have a very similar move. That is not to say that that is definitely going to happen. If you open up, and this makes things even more interesting, you open up something like an RSI, you can see the RSI consolidation in these moves are so similar, right? So the question will be whether or not Bitcoin holds that 20-day moving average support and we get this power move to the upper end of this band. That's something I'll be watching. All the while, we'll just continue to track this channel of consolidation for Bitcoin. Been pretty crazy to watch. We go to Bitcoin on the weekly chart. Just want to point out, and we can kind of even use the power band even as an example. Bitcoin from this low in this, you can see this lower band bouncing out of the lower band is towards the upper, at least the upper half region of the band, right? So we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. You can see Bitcoin wrapping around this momentum line. I just wanted to bring that up because as we continue to evaluate the macro trend of Bitcoin, it becomes interesting just to look at the similarities of previous exits of bear markets, right? So here's 2015, Bitcoin popping out of that lower band, right, of the power band, the lower range. And what's it do? It consolidates higher highs and higher lows just in the upward half of the band, right? And it did that going all the way into halving before it consolidated finally post-halving very briefly. But you go and you look at Bitcoin in the last bear market, exiting the last bear market, right? Bitcoin similar. It's the upper half of that band. And then it consolidated back to purple. And then it popped out of there. And so it's going to be very telling to see this time around for how long will Bitcoin actually consolidate in the upper half of this band. But look at the room to the downside to do so, right? We have the middle of the band right around $25,000, right? So that's just to give an idea from a macro perspective why it's important not just to, and this is for me, this is completely how I see all of these things. I like to know shorter term targets, even this shorter term target to just above $28,000, but it's that macro story that is so important to me. Bitcoin could fall to $25,500, and that would be a common move to previous Bitcoin cycles as it exits bear markets, right? Just these big moves. So I just want to point that out in terms of Bitcoin. And then you can obviously open up the charts and you can also start kind of using the smart wave or even the RSI to get a sense of actual momentum for Bitcoin and actual potential for macro consolidation for Bitcoin. It becomes very evident that on the macro chart, there's always, especially as we get into this upper band, always it's just always in play for Bitcoin to do something like that. So everybody, I know I've been talking a lot about these new indicators. We've been tweaking them. We've been just working on them. The CCV Smart Wave, we're going to be launching very, very soon. I just want to give you a heads up. And when I say we, what I've done is I've partnered, I should say we're collabing, Chart Prime and Crypto Capital Venture. We have this really exciting collaboration where you're going to be getting all of Chart Prime's indicators, which you might have seen them on my recent videos. You're also, this is where it gets ridiculous, everybody, for free. If you sign up with Chart Prime, you're getting this indicator, the Smart Wave indicator, CCV Smart Wave indicator, but you're going to get this course. And some of you know I've been dabbling and working on this course since like last year. So you're going to get this for free. This is an exclusive thing. It's insanely packed with value. I know that sounds salesy, but it's not salesy. This is just the way it is. You're getting all Chart Prime indicators, and then you're getting just this exclusive on the top CCV indicator, as well as my course. So that's what's coming. I'm going to end the video, everybody, with just this nice little promo video. I'm really excited about this collaboration. So be on the lookout for this launch. But I'm going to end the video with a nice little promo. So let me know how you're doing, your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. Hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.